While researching both global warming and nuclear power, I learned many interesting things that I'm here to share with you. Hopefully, by the end of my presentation, you will walk away with a newfound knowledge on these topics. So what is global warming? It can be defined as the gradual increase in the overall temperature of the Earth's atmosphere and oceans. This issue is generally related to the greenhouse effect caused by the increased levels of carbon dioxide, chlorofluorocarbons, and many other pollutants. So that brings us to a new question. What is the greenhouse effect? Well, that is when carbon dioxide and other air pollutants collect in the atmosphere and absorb the sunlight and solar radiation that have bounced off the Earth's surface. More often, radiation escapes into space, but pollutants can last for centuries in the atmosphere, trap heat, and cause the planet to get hotter. These changes in climate are believed to be permanent. Global warming is still a controversial topic, so whether it is real or not is in debate, but scientists have found evidence proving that the Earth is indeed getting warmer. It has been discovered that the temperature of the planet has risen between 0.4 and 0.8 degrees Celsius over the past 100 years. Global warming is mainly blamed on the burning of fossil fuels because they release carbon dioxide and greenhouse gases into the atmosphere. Any gas that contributes to this greenhouse effect by absorbing infrared radiation is known as a greenhouse gas. In the United States, the burning of fossil fuels to make electricity is the biggest source of heat-trapping pollution. It produces around 2 billion tons of carbon dioxide every year. Coal-burning power plants are easily the largest polluters. Although this acts as a huge cause of global warming, agriculture, land clearing, and many other human activities are also responsible for the rising temperatures as well. Over the span of the past 50 years, the average global temperature increased at the fastest rate in recorded history, and the pace is still continuing to accelerate. The warmer weather is causing an abundance of different things, including rising sea levels and an increase in occurrence and severity of storms and other severe weather events. Scientists agree that the planet's rising temperatures are causing longer, hotter heat waves, more frequent droughts, heavier rainfall, and even more powerful hurricanes. An example would be the ongoing drought in California. It is the state's worst water shortage in over 1,000 years. It was said that the drought was intensified by 15 to 20% by global warming. The odds of similar droughts occurring in the future have nearly doubled within the past 10 years. Global warming affects many different aspects of the world. This includes agriculture, health, polar and glacial melting, sea levels, and ocean acidification. When it comes to farming, all plants need a steady supply of water. The climate changes are bringing floods and droughts, which is directly disrupting this supply. As for health, fortunately, the warmer weather has caused there to be a decline in deaths related to winter. But on the flip side, there's also been an increase in deaths due to issues correlated to heat. Heat waves, heat stress, and malaria are only a few of the causes of death that are becoming more and more abundant. One of the more obvious effects of global warming is the melting of the ice caps and glaciers. It is largely detrimental because it is taking away polar bear habitat, increasing ice hazards to shipping, and causing the rise in sea levels. The higher levels are mainly affecting the low-lying areas of the world. The salt water is destroying crops and contaminating fresh bodies of water. Ocean acidification is being caused by the additional carbon dioxide being absorbed into the water, and is affecting many parts of the food chain. Global warming is obviously a worldwide issue that needs to be taken care of, and a good way to decrease the amount of greenhouse gas emissions would be by using renewable or sustainable energy sources. Renewable energy is energy from a source that is not depleted when used, and sustainable energy is energy from a source that can sustain itself for a long period of time or longer than the distant future. Nuclear energy is considered to be a sustainable energy source because there is enough uranium in the world to fuel reactors for 100 years or more. So what is nuclear energy? It's the energy released during nuclear fission or fusion, especially when used to generate electricity. Nuclear power plants work by splitting uranium atoms inside a reactor in a process called fission. At a nuclear energy facility, the heat from fission is used to produce steam, which spins a turbine to generate electricity. Nuclear energy is also a good alternative fuel source because it is much more powerful than many other energy sources. A single uranium fuel pellet the size of a pencil eraser contains the same amount of energy as 17,000 cubic feet of natural gas, 1,780 pounds of coal, or 149 gallons of oil. Usually, when people think of nuclear power, they immediately think of radiation as well. The radiation that is affiliated with nuclear energy facilities are particles emitted by an atomic nucleus as a result of the fission process. And yes, nuclear power plants do release radiation, but only extremely small levels of it that are also regulated by the federal government. During normal operation, nuclear power plants produce radioactive gases and liquids, but these are stored in tanks within the plant itself. The material is held for a certain period of time to allow for the levels of radioactivity to decrease before being handled again. This helps to keep the amount of radioactive material low and well within the federal limits. Radiation monitors are also placed throughout the power plants to give real-time data on a 24-hour basis. Nuclear energy facilities are also non-polluting and use multiple redundant layers of safety to contain radiation within the reactor. At first glance, nuclear power plants may seem like a poor choice as an alternative fuel source due to their high cost. One large reactor is valued at around $6 to $8 billion. Although they have a high construction price, their operation costs are very low. Right now, there are 99 nuclear reactors in 30 states in the United States, with 61 operating nuclear power plants. Throughout the world, there are 444 nuclear reactors in 30 countries that are in operation for electricity generation. On top of that, there are 63 new plants under construction in 15 countries. Energy density is how much work a certain amount of fuel is capable of exerting. In terms of electricity, it is basically a measure of how much fuel you have to burn in a power plant to power the same size city, so it is a very good way to compare how efficient different energy sources are. It is like the miles per gallon rating of a power plant. There are a couple factors of energy density. One of them is the characteristics of the power generation system for any fuel. An example of this would be if a power plant made heat to be converted to electricity. The thermal efficiency would be what determines how much of that heat gets converted to electricity. Another factor is how complete the fuel is consumed. A fuel can be fully consumed before all of the energy is extracted from it. The higher the energy density, the more efficient the source or the fuel is. Nuclear sources have high energy densities because they are very efficient. There are many advantages to using nuclear power. The most significant one is that there is much less air pollution. Nuclear energy does not produce any greenhouse gases. There are no emissions of carbon dioxide, nitrogen oxides, and sulfur dioxide during the production of electricity. Nuclear energy is the only clean air source of energy that produces electricity 24 hours a day, every day. Nuclear energy is also much more efficient than coal, oil, gas, and many other sources. Another pro is that the uranium that is used for nuclear power can be found all throughout the world. Lastly, nuclear power is reliable and safe because it leaves a very small amount of waste. Although nuclear power has many advantages, it possesses some disadvantages as well. The two main cons are radiation and waste disposal. Radiation is a very dangerous thing, and if not handled properly can cause the death of thousands. Going hand in hand, nuclear waste is also very lethal. No matter where it is transferred, it remains for thousands of years because there has been no other solution found yet. Chernobyl and Fukushima were both nuclear power plant disasters that took place. They had devastating results, but they did help to move the industry forward with safety precautions. In the past, there have been nuclear reactor mishaps such as Chernobyl and Fukushima. They were terrible, but after the accident in 2011, the nuclear energy industry and other associations took steps to make things safer. Countries all over the world followed these actions and did the same. As for the Chernobyl incident, it is now physically impossible for something like that to ever happen again. In conclusion to my extensive research, I have learned that global warming is a very real and serious event that is currently going on in the world. It has the potential to do disastrous things if we do not learn to decrease its abundance. Nuclear resources have this great ability, and steps need to be taken to utilize its power.